So I pastor the Community Bible Baptist Church in Pinellas Park, Florida, and I've been here 11 years. Before that, I was 12 years at the Valverde Baptist Church in Groves, Texas. And my wife was raised in the country of Haiti, and she was there since January 4th, 1981, and that's where her mother and father went into Port-au-Prince. They were there for a year, and then the last 10 years they were in the town of Tigouave, or Petit-Gouave is the full name, and there her father pastored the Macedonia Baptist Church of Petit-Gouave. So my wife was raised in that city, and many of the people that we're now working with in IOS were people that her father led their mother and father to Jesus Christ, and now those families are still in that church. While we're ministering here in Pinellas Park, about 10 years ago now, the massive earthquake hit the country. My wife was on the ground in 2 weeks, 12 days she was on the ground translating, delivering food, medical supplies.
And at that time, you couldn't even get into Port-au-Prince. Port-au-Prince was completely shut down. It was a complete chaos and devastation, dead bodies everywhere. They say the smell was horrible. And I mean, the devastation was everywhere. We come down here to the church and the school was completely demolished, completely flat to the ground. There was actually a young girl had died on the property when the earthquake hit. It hit at about 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the afternoon, around that time frame. And I was just, I got to do something. I have to do something. I have to do more. If it was me, and that's what I keep thinking, if this was me, what if nobody ever came to help me? And God brought my parents here years ago, but through that, it also became my heart and my family and my people as well. And so for me to, God invest all that in me, and God give me all of that, and then for me not to try to do something more. And I know I don't have all the answers, and there's only so much we can do, but I know when God's in it and God's behind it and God opens the door and God puts it in your heart, then He's going to enable it. And the need is great. I mean, this is the front lines. This is where the rubber hits the road. Satan has had this country for so long, and it's a huge battle here. And you have people that are striving for the gospel. You have people that love the Lord, that want to see their country come to Christ, that want to see their family, their town, their area come to Christ. But at the same time, sometimes they're so backwards, and there's such a lack of knowledge and ability because they just don't, they're working with the best they've got. They're doing the best they have with the life they're given. And they're very intelligent people, don't get me wrong. There's a difference between being unintelligent and I just don't know. I've never been able to learn or see the facts. And I think if we can provide that and help them with that and rally people around us to help support that vision, I think we can make a big difference.
And so over the last few years, we've tried to help as much as we can. And the men of the church said, Pastor, we need training. They didn't ask for food. They didn't ask for money. They didn't ask for things. Although they need all that, they said, would you just come back and teach us and train us? And so my wife began to pray, and I began to pray that the Lord would open a door for us to go back and forth to do more training.
God was just lining up a series of events that would lead us to begin and see the vision and the dream of beginning IOS. And that happened really that year in 2017.
Yeah.
Right, we began to look for property for a place that we could bring teams in, that could bring missions
safely,
groups,
yeah.
And where they could minister to the Haitian people, the country there. And we could do kids clubs, leadership training, evangelistic training, pastors training, and have a safe place, a quiet place that we could bring Haitian people into, give the training, and then we could stay there on the property as well.
The location that we found is actually just a couple of miles from the church itself, but yet it's far enough out to where you have a great location. It's in a good neighborhood. It's in a quiet place. It's a big enough piece of property to where we can split it and build our orphanage. And I mean, really the sky's the limit.
Since December of 2017, when the Lord put it on our heart to start this endeavor. We've bought 3 acres of property. We've completely built over 1,000 feet of wall, which is a 12-foot high wall. We have done so many improvements. So that's so that we can operate out of. We had a lady tell us who is in the foster care system there that we work with. She said, you don't understand that food is a necessity, not a luxury here, and people don't have a necessity of food. And so she said, how can we help other children when we can't feed our own children? So the Lord began to put on our heart about the orphanage, and we began to work toward that. That opened the door to now we're a foster agency where we're finding Christians in good churches, helping them to take children, to raise them in a good home. Again, food, medicine, clothing, love, Christian education, good church, so that we can develop them. We've now placed 6 children, and Valerie can tell you a little bit of the stories real quickly of those kids.
It was our first, actually, we took in December 2019. It was our first little guy, and he was 12 months old, 18-year-old mother, pregnant with her second child, no father in the picture. No assistance, lived in a tin shack, probably by 8 feet by 10 feet. And he was in very bad condition.
Very malnutrition.
Right, severely malnutrition. And just in the 5 weeks, I got pictures, he's almost unrecognizable.
So if we had unlimited funds, or at least a good amount of funds, we would immediately begin to build our orphanage. Right now, we feel the best way to reach children immediately is through this foster care program. And we're working with Christian families in the community that we know, and we're fostering these children. We're supplying their needs. The government does nothing to help foster children. Some of these kids, prayerfully, if the parents can get on their feet or they can get some kind of future, they may be able to go back to them. But we also know that some of these kids, parents are already dead. One of our first children, the father's already dead of AIDS and the mother is dying of AIDS. So we know this child has nowhere else to go. If we were able to, we would build our orphanage right away. The only thing that's hindering us is the funds to take a child in immediately that has no other future. So right now we're fostering, we're doing the best we can to help as many as we can, but we know that long term we'll need to build the orphanage. And so that's the next big step after we get the house that we live in, operate out of, after we get that settled, which is the new roof, the solar, all of those things, so that we can operate on a daily basis. The next step will begin to raise money to begin to build the orphanage.
The wonderful thing that God has done is He is allowing us to work with people that I've literally known since I was 9, 10, 11 years old. So God prepared me not knowing this years ago, raised there, that I know the culture, I know the language, and I have a base of people that have been so instrumental in keeping this going while we serve here at our local church and minister here. They allow us to do what we do. So we come in and out, and they do the day-to-day, and God has just placed them in the right places and lifted them up and
position,
give them in positions
absolutely.
In the city there, and have put them on our team. We can ship things down, and we have no worry about things held in customs or being
stolen, being charged exorbitant rates.
Right,
yeah.
Which is, if you ask anybody that's done any work in Haiti, that's about as much as a miracle as Peter walking on and Jesus walking on the water.
We appreciate your supporting us and your believing in us, and we're going to continue to do this if the Lord will tarry His coming. And we just believe that the bigger and greater things are ahead. We're just anxious to the next thing. But appreciate again all your support, and you guys have been a huge blessing to us. God bless you, and thank you very much.
Thank you.